Vamos a pelear como nunca hemos peleado. Vamos a pelear con todo lo que tenemos. A la mierda el cartel de Cali. A la mierda Judy Moncada. A la mierda los Castaños. Vamos a demostrar a esos hijos de putas con quién se están metiendo, porque nosotros aún somos el cartel de Medellín y esta noche vamos a tomar ese malparido Montecasinos. Tráigame a todos los hombres que podamos comprar. Usted vaya a Medellín por cada caleta en la que tengamos plata y tráigame hasta el último centavo. Ni Mónica me van a llevar a Montecasino, porque esta noche yo voy a estar al lado y lado con ustedes peleando hasta la muerte.
What's up, fuckers? Shouts out to the Colombians.
Maravilla, mira. Un parcerito mío va para allá. Está buscando unas camisetas. Asegúrese de que todo está bien. Que todo queda bien. Óigame. My luck ain't beginners, then my descender block. Hit Calhoun Lake with the winners drop. Nothing but flags.
What you know about that? Probably jack shit. Alright, so, what are we doing? We're here. And I meant that, yeah, shouts out to the Colombians, man. I love me some fucking Colombians. I think Colombians have, aside from my people, because I love the Cuban accent. I do. I find it endearing and hilarious at the same fucking time. It makes me laugh and it makes me proud at the same fucking time. Of course I'm biased. But after my peoples, my favorite Latin American accent is the fucking Colombian accent. And pretty much all of it, because there are variations to the accent. For example, my best friend, and I grew up, you know, my best friend, what is it, 2017? Me and homie been friends for like 22 years. And it's fucked up. I just found out yesterday he got locked up again. He violated, so he might be gone for a while, which is fucked. We've lost touch a little bit. You know how that shit happens. You grow old, etc. But, man, we grew up together, man. That's my boy. And, he's from Cali. Or at least his family. He was born in New York, but his family's from Cali. Cali, Colombia. Cali has the strongest, most concentrated fucking Colombian accent in history. And his mother is loud and likes to argue. So I grew up hearing that accent. Because you know how it is when you're fucking kids and you're hanging out at your friend's house and his mom goes off on him. So yeah. I mean, not only him, I've had other Colombian homeboys, Colombian co-workers, and I honestly love that fucking accent. I wish I could do it. I've been trying to fucking work on a Colombian impression for years, and I just can't fucking do it. Impressions are not my forte, and I just can't put that one together. Closest I can fucking get is just say some basic shit like, you know, that kind of shit. And that was terrible. You should do it better. Long story. But you know, it's Latin America, it's that Spanish shit, it's that Chico shit, it's that Spic shit, it's that fucking Hispanic shit, it's that shit that a lot of you motherfuckers get pissed off when I bring up, you hating fucks. Deal with it. It's funny, man. Let's see. What do we got today? Honey roasted peanuts? Nah. Salted nuts. Let's eat some salty nuts, huh? Yeah, they want you to rip the little top of the bag there, but every time I fucking open it from the little top of the fucking ridges on the bag there, I end up getting nuts all over the floor. That's right. Nuts on the floor. But yeah. Shouts out to the people who aren't ignorant and hateful. You know? It's all good. But, you know, it's one of those things, man. There's almost 24 Latin American countries, bro. They're fucking diverse as fuck. When it comes to fucking Latin America, you got some countries that are predominantly like white European descendancy, light skin. You got some countries that are predominantly African descendant, dark skin, black. You got some countries that are majority indigenous, Indian, native, aboriginal, whatever you want to call it. And you got some countries that are predominantly a fucking mix. Colombia is one of those countries. Colombians are not anything. There's white Colombians, black Colombians, and Indian looking Colombians. I love that shit. And actually, there's not that many. Shakira is like a fucking exception. Shakira is an exception. There, like, I have seen very, very few like blonde, light-eyed Colombians, and they're proud. They're proud of that shit. They'll tell you straight up, we ran the fucking Spaniards the fuck out of here. It's a fucking country of mestizos and shit. Shouts out to Colombians. I love that fucking accent. Oh man, it's one of the reasons I love South Florida, man. I probably do come across fucking cocky and arrogant because that's just one of my personal fucking flaws. I don't mean to be. But that's why I love South Florida. I cannot leave here because the diversity of fucking people here, you cannot find anywhere else except maybe like New York. I'll give it to New York. New York is some proud motherfuckers, but New York is a hell of a city. In the sense that living there is an experience because New York is just some next level shit compared to almost everywhere else, unless you live in another major fucking metro city. You know what I mean? But it's all about diversity. Cause up there, you go to like the fucking Northeast region, it's in New York, Jersey, PA, and you got all the fucking Dominicans and all the fucking Ricans and the Cubans over in Jersey. You got a fuckload of Italians. You got all the fucking Irish that are concentrated around fucking like Boston and shit. You know what I mean? The Italians spread from New York to fucking Philly and shit. Then you got immigrants from every fuckwhere else, plus the Jews. So I give it to New York. But outside of New York, man, there really ain't another area in this country outside of South Florida that's got this kind of motherfucking diversity. I love it. I love it. I fucking love it.
There's no escaping. Once my blade starts scraping.
I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I'll turn this down here. Put some nuts in my mouth and then tell y'all a story. Talking about diversity.
I used to whip the bend through the West End. Now I'm in Bel Air like the Fresh Prince. Did the Pirelli spin, blend in the Burberry trench. My chef's French.
There you go. A Canadian producer, a British fucking rapper on an album, on the album of a dude from New York. Shouts out to that Giallo Point and Smooth. Medellin, which explains the intro. That should make sense to people. Let me turn down what was the name of the black dude in Snatch? Fuck, se me fue el nombre. You know what I mean. Snatch, great fucking movie. Shouts out to Guy Ritchie. Shouts out to Jason Statham before the action hero fame. Anyways, here's a story, and this kind of this is a microcosm of South Florida. Back when I lived in Miami and I worked in Doral. Doral is a city in and of itself, but it's really just part of Miami, the greater Miami metro area, Miami-Dade County. Doral is basically, well, now it's all the Venezuelans with money have moved there and that place has been built up. But Doral is basically where all the fucking warehouses and corporate fucking buildings and distribution centers are because it's right down the street from the Miami International Airport. You work in Doral, it's a fucking warehouse job, more or less. But it's a nice ritzy area, of course. Whatever, I spent years working at a company there. And this, like I said, this is a microcosm of what Miami and South Florida is like. I used to call this place, and you know, for sake of privacy and idiots on the internet who like to fucking do dumb shit, I'll keep the name to myself, right? I will say it was on fucking off of 25th. I'm sorry, off of 41st and 114. Matter of fact, right by where the new fucking the new mini auxiliary Miami-Dade Community College campus is, which is 115. Anyways, by Dolphin Mall, really. Anyways, that's some local shit. I was about to go off into some local shit, and I know you don't care. But so I worked at this place. I worked there for like 4 years, right? And it truly is a microcosm of what South Florida is, and a perfect example of the diversity we have. Here's why. and I know I've told this story before, so forgive me if you've heard it before. But the owners of this company, and this company was a freight forwarder, which means we receive all kinds of freight, consolidate it, and then load fucking containers or package freight for air shipments to other countries. Their main clients, their two main clients were in Argentina. For a while, they had one huge fucking client in Brazil. They had a couple of small clients in Peru and Venezuela. And there's probably a few more that escape me now because it's been a long time. I left there almost 10 years ago. But, once again, this is why I use this as an example. The owners, it was family owned. The family that owned it was from Chile. Chile, you know, that long ass little strip of a country in South America. So the owners were Chilean. Now, as far as the salesmen, the guys in the office, their number one salesman, buddy to the family that owned the place, was from Argentina. But his wife was from Brazil, so he spoke Portuguese. His kind of like bitch in the office was his cocksucker from Ecuador. And when I say cocksucker, he was a cocksucker. He started as a do-boy. They gave him some accounts. I guess he ended up a salesman, but he was from Ecuador. Another man salesman who had accounts with Cervecería Polar. If you've ever seen Polar beer, he had accounts with them and Coca-Cola and Gatorade in Venezuela, which were actually run by the Polar Beer Company, which I think might be state-owned, whatever. So he's Venezuelan. Let me see. Then the two girls, well, when I started there were two girls working the office, like the receptionist, paperwork girls. One was from Bolivia, the other girl was Nicaraguan. The Nicaraguan girl eventually left. She was replaced by this Colombian chick. And then later they brought in a third lady from El Salvador. And then upstairs you have a Venezuelan lady with a fucking Italian last name doing HR. And also a Mexican dude. And the Mexican dude was a rarity. First of all, because the Mexicans, especially back in the day, were concentrated in Homestead, which is all the fuck way south, and they never drove up that far to Doral to work. But he was also a rarity because this motherfucker was like 6'7", 6'8". He was a tall ass fucking Mexican. Usually Mexicans ain't that fucking tall, but he was the Mexican. So then that's pretty much the office. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Then in the warehouse manager was a Cuban dude, one of us, you know, Hialeah, Cuban dude from Hialeah, from Miami. Then there was me, Cuban American. Then there was my boy Twinkle. Long story on that name. He's another Cuban dude who actually lived like 10 years in Germany and 10 years in Ecuador. How's that? Then my boy Julio, also from Nicaragua. And part-time working only 2 days a week was the man we used to call Super Castro. Olmedo Castro. Never forget him. Fucking humble, cool, friendly, fucking great human being, man. Super Castro. And he's Colombian. And then the lady who cleaned, who would also come with her son, because he used to help her out, and also they used to fucking sell like lunches and shit, you know? Ajiacos and sancochos and shit. All that bandeja paisa and all that shit. You know, Colombian family. And then later, at some point, they brought in this girl who rented out warehouse space and office space because she was running her own company out of there. She was Argentine as well. And then also there was another Argentine family who did the same. They didn't rent out office space, just warehouse space. They were selling cowhides, and they were fucking descendants of Russian Jews, but they were all born in Argentina. Welcome to Miami, motherfucker. I used to call it the United Nations because if you go back and rewind what I just said, how many countries did I list off working in one fucking place? In Miami. And to all my fucking Anglos and my Black Americans and my non-Latinos out there who are like, what the fuck? That's just how it is, bro. There's a million places in Miami who have that same demographic where if you're not some kind of fucking Hispanic Latino and you come up in there, they're looking at you like, the fuck, yo? Este gringo qué? Also, I'd like to point out that if anybody thinks that gringo is a derogatory term, you've been misguided. It's not derogatory, it's just the word used to basically say a white American. White American, he's from America, he doesn't speak Spanish, he's a white dude, shows up, he's a gringo. Sorry, you gotta call you something, but it's not meant in a negative fucking way. I guess if people want to be offended, they're going to be offended. I mean, people get offended for everything nowadays, so whatever. So, anyways, that's just an example I put out there, just because, you know, some stupid motherfuckers, Let me take that back. Some unfortunately ignorant, unfortunately not properly educated people, because the school system is a fucking joke in this country. That's why my kids ain't in it. You know, they don't teach people the right things, especially when Latin America is the neighbors of this country, and they don't teach shit about the neighbors of this fucking country. So I ain't that mad at people who think that all like Spanish-speaking Latinos, Hispanics are fucking Mexican, but we're fucking not. Can I say what I want to say in 3 minutes? Fuck. But yeah, shouts out to my Mexicans. I have love for Mexico as a country, Mexicans as a people, and Mexicans or Mexico as a culture. They're a big badass fucking country with a long fucking history, and it's to be respected. But at the same time, I find it humorous that a lot of Americans like to think that all Latinos are Mexican because that's the only example they've ever fucking seen, right? When the irony is that there's almost 24 countries in Latin America. Mexico may be the biggest, or one of the biggest, or the closest, but it's not the only one. And ironically, especially with the immigration issues, Mexico has one of the toughest immigration policies. Like, you just can't go live in Mexico. You can't be a Hispanic from another country and go live in Mexico. They don't like that shit. They don't let that shit ride. My boy Julio that I worked with over there, he fucking spent some time in Mexico because he came to this country on foot. He had to go up the long way through Mexico. And while he was in Mexico, I don't know how much time he spent there, but I know it was a minute. He had to fucking fake a Mexican accent because he couldn't get discovered because they'd kick him the fuck out because Mexicans ain't about that shit. And I find it ironic that Mexicans freely want to come to this country, and it's cool because if you're here to work, make money, and support your family, I support you. But there's still an irony to the fact that they come here so freely, yet Mexico as a country, as a government, policies, you know what I mean? They don't want people immigrating to their country. They're very strict about their borders. Little food for thought there. $18 minutes. Yeah, this one ran a lot longer than I usually like to do. We were at the swell. But I love South Florida because you have all the Latinos. You have Jews, you have French Canadians, you have the rest of the Caribbean, you know, the Haitians, the Bahamians, the Jamaicans. It's fucking awesome. You have a fuckload of Russians and Eastern Europeans that are here on the low. I love it. I fucking love it. The Brits be coming through here. British royal family got resorts up and down the fucking beaches of Florida. And that's just South Florida. The Ricans got Orlando on lock. That's another story. Peace, cunts. Open your minds. Stop being hateful.